How are you doing? And most importantly, how are you feeling right now?
I'm good. Physically, I'm not so great. But I can't complain. I have an amazing life, and um, get to go and have surgery and enjoy this next chapter of my life. So big.
Do you know when the surgery will be at?
Yeah, I'm actually going to meet with the surgeon on Friday, so like this coming Friday, and then I think we're gonna have surgery on like Monday.
Okay. And do you feel physical pain right now, like all the time?
I do. I mean, it aches. And so I keep looking at it. I'll show you.
Okay. Oh,
Got it
there it
right.
is.
Oh,
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
um, no, it aches and it's hard to walk, but I've actually gotten a lot of motion back in it, just because I'm stubborn and I'm like, this is not gonna stop me. So I'm doing everything I can.
So the moment when you injured the knee has become like a big point of contention. Do you recall when this happened?
Yeah, I know I've heard a lot of things about it, but for me, I mean, when I did it in the first round. Um, it didn't hurt until it didn't hurt really bad until the second round, but I did it in like the very first movement that I did. I like stepped on her foot in the first round, and I like overshifted and I overstepped, and it popped, and it was like, oh no, that's not good, but it also was not like terrible. And I knew that I had to fight through it, and so I just kept going, and by the second round, I was sitting down. And when I stood up from the stool, I was like, this is really not good. But I didn't tell anybody in the first round. I didn't tell my coaches because I'm just trying to hide it. I was trying to keep it from them because I didn't think it was that bad. But as I stood up from in between the first and second round, it was like, I can't. This is really bad.
At any
So
point did you consider not fighting anymore? Did you want them to quote unquote throw in the towel?
no, I talked to every single one of the coaches, and when I Duke just told me, he's like, when you looked at me and the way you were talking to the doctor, he's like, you were not wanting us to stop it. So I didn't. I never once thought of quitting because that's what I signed up to do, and this is a life I chose. This is when you step in there, that there's a chance that you're gonna have an injury, you're gonna have something happen that could put you out, and that's what we choose to do. We didn't choose to have, or at least me, I didn't sign up to have perfect days every single day. And I understand that there has to be a winner and a loser, and unfortunately, Saturday night was not my night. Regardless of the leg, obviously that I truly feel plays a factor in my performance, and I know that, and I'd love to go back and show that to everybody else, show what I know to everybody else. But at the end of the day, you can't control the things that happen, but you can control what you choose to let them, do in that situation. And I wanted to push through, and I wanted to show that I'm not just I need to have a perfect day to fight. It was a very unperfect day, and I wanted to fight, so I did that.
So the statement from your dad that you injured the knee in the first 10 or so seconds of the fight, that is an accurate statement as far as you're concerned.
Yeah, it is. It did. It popped. I felt it. I had several doctors look back just because we wanted to I guess make sure and prove to everybody else, what I already knew. But it doesn't matter, like whether I injured it in the first 5 seconds or the last 5 seconds. I did injure it in the first 5 seconds, but nobody else cares about that, and that's not for me to try and argue and explain. That's something that I'll know in my heart forever. And I knew that from the very first 5 seconds of the fight. But whether that plays a part in your win and loss, nobody cares about that except for me, and that's something that I'm going to have to deal with, and I'm going to have to, fight through and understand. That's why I'm not taking the loss so hard, because I knew that I did everything I could, and I did it on one leg. And you know what? I couldn't win on one leg, but I did push through the fight, and credit to Roxy. She's good, and she won.
How do you feel about some of the criticism your father has received for his post fight comments? Do you feel like it's fair? Does it bother you that people are upset or taking shots at him or saying that what he's saying is not sportsmanlike? How do you feel about all of that? I'm sure you've seen some of it.
it doesn't bother me because every dad is gonna have a certain reaction, and that's the way he's gonna react. I'm his daughter, and I went out there and I fought, and he wants to justify. He wants to be like, no, she didn't lose because she had this leg thing, which true or not, which it is, that's his view. That's him trying to protect and prove. He's always going to be on my side. He's going to fight to the death. And I do appreciate that. And you can't expect to be in this life and not have thick skin. So, what people say about him and what people think, I mean, yeah, it sucks, but I don't read stuff about it. I don't read things unless other people send them to me. So I try not to pay attention to it because everybody has their own opinion and everybody's entitled to their own opinion, but it's your choice if you want to listen to it or not.
There was an interesting sequence towards the end of the fight where the doctor checked you out and appeared to diagnose you with, at the time, a partially torn ACL. And I know I spoke to your father about this on the phone, but I'm wondering how you feel about that, because it seems like he felt like maybe Roxanne learned about your knee injury as a result of what the doctor was saying. Do you feel like that was the case? And do you feel like it should have been handled a little differently?
I've thought about that a lot. The whole leg thing with him coming in and checking. I mean, if a doctor wants to come in and check and ask you if you're good, and if you give them a solid answer of "I'm fine, let me continue." Like if I say that I'm fine, and I'm not like a wishy-washy kind of like I think I'm all right, or like acting as though I'm hurt, then I think that he should have like let me continue. And if he was going to call the fight, he should have called the fight. But to sit me down and check my leg and have everyone in the world seeing that, oh, she's injured, let's capitalize on that for Roxanne. Because I've said this before, if I was in Roxanne's situation, I'm not as nice as her, especially in the fight. I know that it's a I'm gonna win or you're gonna win situation. And if there's someone who's hurt, I mean, I would capitalize on that. I would have stood her up and I would have been like, no, I'm gonna kick your leg until you fall over. I'm just thankful that that she's not that kind of person and that mean. But that could have happened, and I could have been hurt way worse because of the doctor showing that I was injured in a fight. Um, so I don't necessarily agree at all with him sitting me down and checking me. If he's going to check and assess the stability of someone's leg and then continue to say that they have a torn ACL and that you're fine. I mean, clearly you're not fine. You have one leg that's like basically incompetent, and um I don't know, it was just kind of a weird situation, but at the same time, like I was in the moment and I wasn't really like, I guess, processing it all. I just was trying to push through, and that's what I wanted to do. And so I just told him, I'm fine, and I wasn't gonna argue with him, for sitting me down. I tried, but it didn't work.
Do you think the knee got worse? He said partially torn. Now we find out it's a full tear. Do you think that you further injured the knee by competing in that third round?
I think what happened is, honestly, I could have like partially torn it in the first bit, and then just as I kept moving, could have torn it all the way. I don't know.
Hmm.
You don't know if it was fully torn from the very beginning or if it was partially torn from the very beginning and then fully torn at the end. I do know that after that first round, I was noticing that I wasn't very stable, but I had the muscles to kind of protect it, and the pain was like kind of kind of able to be withstood. But then the second round, I just realized, the pain was getting worse. And as I went to step, like the stability just wasn't even there. Like there was nothing there. And every time I tried to step or every time I tried to move, it was just less and less of like anything to resist against me. And by the third round, I remember trying to like throw a Superman, and I was lifting my leg, and I was trying to like think, because it was so clear to me. It was like I knew exactly what I needed to do, but every single time I tried to do something, I was like, oh, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. Like, I need to lift my leg. I was trying to find some way to put my leg to where I would get power with my strikes, but not plant on my leg, because I knew that if I planted on my leg, I would fall over again. Because, as a lot of people saw in the second round, I fell over like from the one shot, and it wasn't. She did land the shot, but it was like I couldn't. Like my mental processing was like I wanted to step back, but I couldn't step back. And then when I did try to step back, it was like a little bit delayed. So she did catch me and like graze me with that one hand, but my leg was gone. So I I couldn't land, so I just fell over and it hurt really bad. But uh, you know what? It was good, and I've told a lot of people, this is a crazy life, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. I wouldn't even go back and take any of that back. Not even the loss. I lost, but it's fine.
I,
I'll make it
I
back, and I'm better.
I appreciate your candor and your honesty, especially when you say, I'm not as nice as Roxy. I would have tried to capitalize. She went out of her way and said, no, I didn't try to re-injure or further injure the knee when I noticed that she was actually injured. Now that you've been in that situation and you're the injured fighter, let's say in 2 years you're fighting someone who injures their leg. Are you saying even though you've been in that situation and are thankful that she didn't do it to you, you would do it to someone else?
As bad as it sounds, if that was the determining factor in me winning or losing, I probably would. That's the mean side of me, and that's not necessarily right. But if I'm trying to do everything I can to win, and I know that I'm okay, we'll take that back. If I'm down a round and I need that to win, I probably would, but I'd probably bite through my lip and cry afterwards because you know what, this sucks. This really sucks. I'm looking at 9 months of not being able to compete, and it's crushing me. Um, but we'll get it.
A big part of your story was trying to become the youngest champion in UFC history. Do you feel like now that goal is no longer attainable?
I don't. By the time I'm done with this surgery and this rehab, I'll be 22 still. So that's a little. I'll have a little over a year to achieve that. And I'm going to do everything in my power to do that. I truly believe that I am on the track to doing that, and this is just a mountain that I was presented with, and I have to climb it. And I think it's going to make me even better as a champion, and it's going to make me better in the gym. It's going to make me stronger and more mentally prepared for when I do reach that title fight. So I'm looking forward to it.
How was the weight cut? And do you feel like it's inevitable that at some point you'll be a 135er?
I don't. This is probably the blessing in disguise with my knee. Actually, is what a lot of the performance institute Clint is saying. Um, the cut to 125. I mean, I'm still trying to fight from when I was cutting from 115. For whatever reason, my body didn't like that. Putting yourself through that drastic of a cut really messed me up. And then I just tried to keep fighting, and taking multiple fights and cutting weight over and over, and it became harder and harder. Uh, and so this could be helpful, that I don't have to cut weight for another 9 months, and it can allow my body to reset and get the fuel that it needs. But I'm never going to be a 135er. I would probably take a fight at short notice if it was like the right fight and it was good and whatever. I would take a fight at 135, but um, I'm a 125-pound fighter, and I think that this injury is going to help me really help with the cut. But the cut for this last fight, I actually walked into it lighter than I did for the last time. But I was also dealing with like not feeling very good. My brother had been sick for a while, so uh, that has nothing to do with my performance, obviously. But the cut was not very fun. I was really tired, but it was all right.
You're obviously a very confident young woman and you're very sure of yourself. And that's obviously coming through as your career starts to develop. But when you are that confident and when you do express your lofty goals, when you stumble, especially in our social media age, people like to celebrate one's demise. And this has happened to you, right? On social media, people are like, oh, she got what she deserved, karma, all this stuff. How do you process that? Do you see that stuff and does it cut deep for you?
It doesn't, but I do see a lot of it, and at least they're watching. That means that they're paying attention. If they hate me that much, they're watching, and they want to see me lose. So that means they want to see me either way, whether they want to see me win or they want to see me lose. They still want to see something. Um, Letting that get to me, the only thing that really irritates me or could really irritate me is people that I look up to, throwing trash. But you know what? They don't, because everybody who knows what I've been through, from uh, teammates, from coaches, from a lot of different people, um, I've got nothing but support. One that stood out to me was Anthony Rumble Johnson. He sent me a message, and he sent a very encouraging message, um, telling me to keep my head up, and that anybody who thinks that I don't know exactly what he said, but anybody who doesn't believe that pushing through that is incredible. He said is a clown, and it's true. Anybody who's been through that kind of situation, anybody who's fought in a cage, anybody who's had to deal with an injury or something, they have an understanding, and the people who are just have never done that, have never been in a cage, have never been injured, have never, had goals in the sense of like trying to accomplish something that nobody else has ever done. They have no clue. So for them to talk, it really is invalid, and what other people think of me is none of my business. Um, so that's just something I've learned, and I've tried to really apply to my life.
Appreciate you doing this, Maycee, and I want to wish you the best in the upcoming surgery. Have a speedy recovery. Always appreciate your time. It's always great talking to you, and looking forward to the return, the comeback. That should be an interesting story to follow. So thank you very much to you and your family for doing this, and enjoy your vacation as well.
Thank you very much.
Hello, everyone. It's Ariel Helwani. I just came here to thank you for watching our ESPN YouTube channel. It's the best. You know what else is the best? The ESPN app. You can get highlights, analysis, all that stuff and more. And if you want premium content and live streaming sports, there's only one place for all of that. It's ESPN Plus.